Good afternoon. I want to first thank the panelists and the audience for taking the time on Friday afternoon to come and hear us tell you a little bit about SeeCare. So SeeCare is an idea that was thought up by Bracha and Ronen Ben Non and myself. And let me start by telling you about it. So we all know that accidents happen, and they happen all the time. And I think arguably the biggest subpopulation that has accidents are infants, toddlers. They're always getting into trouble. They're super busy, super excited, and they're everywhere. And we want to help them avoid these accidents as much as possible. So, fortunately for us, there are 4 billion new little troublemakers born each year in the US alone.
He took a dive, he ran into it.
This one personally is not his son. So, out of the hazardous injuries that are hospitalized in the US every year, 66% of them are from falls. And there are 14,500 crib-related injuries each year in the US, 9 out of 10 which occurred when the parent was not around in the room at the time of the accident. And we think these are preventable, and we want to tell you how. So what do we have today? What is the state of the art today in infant safety? Unfortunately, there are these primitive walkie-talkie kind of devices that you just put one in by the infant, one wherever you are, and you can just hear what's going on. So I can hear if the kid is awake or not, if he's making noise, but that's about it. We added video onto these, not we, sorry, but there are videos that are added onto these. So now if I hear the baby making some noises, I can actively look to see, what's he doing? Is he going back to sleep and I should just leave him alone? Is he getting up and I should go get him? Some more expensive gadgets have extra add-ons like sensors for temperature and things like that. And these are sold at 1.5 million units a year in the US alone. And yet we suggest that they don't really help you keep infants safe, keep toddlers safe. Imagine a world in which you had that same monitor looking at the baby, but now it could recognize this infant is now picking its leg up and starting to get out of crib. It would notify immediately by cell phone, by some kind of buzz tone like a baby sense, the mother or the father or whoever's there at home, and he or she could rush and keep the baby out of harm's way. We're suggesting, and I will tell you in a second what the technology is, that we have this capability, and we can now take the current products one step further. You don't just hear the baby, you don't just see it, you can actually use computers to help you know when the baby is in trouble. So, how does it work? There are current technologies that are available today that do machine learning. Basically, the computer is looking at a particular action, such as in this case jumping jacks, and you train the computer on that action, and it will later be able to identify similar actions as being the same action. Now, the computer training part will take time. This is not happening in real time, this is happening when we develop the prototype. I teach it to look at thousands of videos of jumping jacks, but once that is done, it can look at this jumping jack from a completely different angle, or this upside down jumping jack, which I think is quite impressive, and recognize it as being the same action, and in milliseconds it will tell me your baby is now doing a jumping jack, or your baby is now trying to get out of the crib. So what is our business plan? The bill of materials would be roughly $50. We might be able to go down, but I don't want to promise. The retail price would sell for $2.99. I don't see any reason to go down below the price of existing products. And we believe that we can reach a prototype in 1 year, maybe less. And the development of this prototype would cost about $150,000. The prototype would not be the final product. It would be the computer that now has the capability to know the infant is picking up its leg. And then within a second year, we think we could get to the final product that we can put on the market. The market has a huge growth rate right now. It's between 16 and 28%. There's many, so I think India is a huge growing market in baby monitors. And so our vision is to use this and then further develop it as a platform. So we can not only identify an infant now picking its leg up off a crib, but also climbing up windows, climbing on tables, on chairs, picking up an electrical cord and so forth. And we could see it going into future markets. So for example, the elderly, another growing market. We could see an elderly person fall perhaps before I got to the panic button, and things of that nature, and hopefully be able to, reach him when the hazard has just occurred. So we hope you'll help us keep the world a less hazardous place, and I'm happy for any questions.
No questions, Rochelle? Input, sorry, Sheva, please.
Okay, so I mean, basically, I think that anything that prevents hazards or accidents to happen is a nice market. I will be very short because there are a lot of things to be said. So in a way, it looks like intuitively it's the next, I'd say, generation of devices, but there are quite a few technology challenges because the technologies that you mentioned are not intuitive and it's very, I would say, it's very challenging to take them to something that is going to be a commodity market, and you are in a market which is basically a commodity market. So the price will be an issue. I mean, how much will it cost to take it to the market? And then there's another issue of false positive or false negative. What happens, which is an issue. You don't want to be at work and then get, nags that your baby is doing something at home and obviously he's not alone. So somebody is looking at him and it's an issue. False positive or false negative is always an issue, and it can, kill it alongside with the price. But, very nice and intuitively there's definitely a need there, and that's it, basically.
First, to be honest, I've heard about usually I'm not going to meet such startups, but and I'll explain the reason, about startups that are offering to do the same, but for the elderly, just to see if they are falling down or things like that. So it's not the first time, I hear about babies, but it's not like a new idea that I've heard. Some ideas to think about. Again, I think there is a need for some artificial intelligence here, not just machine learning. And then, okay, there is an issue of the computing. This could be also on the cloud, but then there would be some latency. I don't know. But there are so many scenarios of a baby. It's not just doing this whatever, diving, whatever that. But really, so many. So I think there is a need for artificial intelligence, cloud, computing, latency. You have to consider, possibly even to consider 3D cameras, not just 2D cameras. But again, it impact the cost. But again, it's a fresh idea. The question is it really feasible? Is it really giving the value? And of course, the cost would be next. But there are several technologies that you have to tackle and.
So you gotta have a good lawyer.
Agreed.
You know why? Because if my son falls, I'm gonna blame you.
Right.
And he's going to fall. So issue between false positives and detection rate. It's always an issue. There's a fine line there. I'll try my best. How's that?
Too much.
And the second thing I know with regards to my kids, if they know that they do something and it gets the attention of the parents, they'll do it all the time. The minute they catch it, and they catch it very, very fast.
At this age, after 1 year, 1.5, 2 years.
Oh, well, you have kids?
Yeah.
Well, believe me, they catch it so fast. So that's going to be a kind of anti-mom and dad device. I don't know if I could put it in my house. So. But those are my comments. It's a nice idea.
So, first of all, very nice presentation. And I like the fact that you're going after a real problem. I don't have kids, but I believe it's a real problem, especially for the elderly, and I think it's an innovative way.
Can you use the mic?
Yeah. If someone doesn't hear me, I'll speak loud. So I think the presentation was very good. I think you're talking about a real problem. Think about something very innovative. Judith can share, Shevstar can share with me when PrimeSense came and they had this idea about hand gesture movement. People thought it was science fiction, but today it's almost every teenager's home. So I think based on current technologies, you're able to develop these kinds of solutions. So just without repeating everything that my colleagues said, I would look at, I'll do a lot of market research and see the technological validity of this solution, and definitely I would encourage you to pursue it, because I think nobody has yet to solve this problem, and you might be, the team might be the first. So, congratulations.
Hey. So yeah, definitely interesting. Thanks for educating us on the places you want to take this. I think that the biggest change wasn't machine learning. In the last few years wasn't progress in machine learning or computer vision. It's the fact that all of us has a smartphone in our pocket. So tapping into that communication channel, that's a big opportunity, because we can notify parents or sons if it's elderly in many more ways on smaller incidents. So I think that's the biggest opportunity, and the one thing I would advise is joining what my colleagues here said. Is it's going to be super challenging, obviously, is to tap into a commodity market here. So, but I do think there's no reason to go below the market price right now. If it's positioning at 300, it's interesting. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. You did a great job, explaining the problem and the market need and the use cases, illustrating them. I could definitely see how this could be very valuable. One thing that was missing, you didn't really talk about, why you're the team to be able to do this, and how you're going to distribute this, and why you're ideally suited for that. So, those are some of the big questions in a big idea like this, and you should probably add that to the pitch.
Perfect, thanks.